Hello, it's Rathergood Chat. Today's episode 35 and we're discussing birds. Rathergood Chat, Rathergood Chat. Let's all have a rather good chat. Rathergood Chat, Rathergood Chat. Ding! La la la, it's a Rathergood Chat. I'm Joel.
And I'm Dave.
Oh, David, shoot. His eyeballs are surprisingly hirsute.
Not surprising to me. I've got used to them.
I mean, I find it surprising. Like it makes the function of your eyelids extremely difficult, doesn't it? Both because they're in the way and also because they sponge up all the eyeball juice, which normally lubricates these things. Is it not like living with Brillo pads in your face?
A bit like that, yeah. But nicer, yeah.
Right.
I went to meet a friend in a like pub the other day.
Yeah.
Who I hadn't seen in a while, and the young lady who served us
had hairy eyeballs.
The largest fake eyelashes I've ever seen. They were an inch long.
Wow.
Like enormous.
Yeah.
It looked pretty odd, I would say. I mean, like, go her. Look however you want. Yeah.
They still individual?
Is that the fashion? I don't know. I'm far too old to understand what the fashion is.
Were they hair-like? It seems like quite a long distance for a thing hair diameter to stay, defying gravity for. Were they like a single horn?
An inch long, not an inch in diameter for each one.
That's what I thought you meant. But an inch is a long way for something as thin as a hair to stay up, right? So I just wondered if it was like a toenail, basically, on her eye.
Maybe they're just two huge callous toenails growing out of her eye sockets.
Or maybe she cuts her toenails off and sticks them on her eyelids with super glue.
That would be a way of doing it, wouldn't it? Yeah.
There's only one way to find out how attractive it looks, and that's to give it a go. I might give that a go.
That'd be quite good if it's sunny.
Yeah.
It'd be like having a baseball cap, but tiny one for each eye.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be loads better because you wouldn't have to keep the sun off of your bonce. I love the sun on my bonce.
You do love a warm bonce, don't you?
I love a warm bonce. There's a Beatles song, isn't there?
Happiness is a warm bonce.
Is a warm bonce. Bonce, brain, think. Think it goes like that, doesn't it?
Was that Beatles or was that just Lennon?
Maybe it was just John Lennon.
I thought that was just Lennon. I don't know.
Lenin. It was Lenin.
It was Lenin. Yes.
Right. I mean, that explains the violence of the Bolshevik Revolution, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? Because he did a lot of thinking. Lenin had a slightly outsized cranium, didn't he? And he exercised his brains a lot. Happiness is a warm bonds. Brain, think. Time to massacre the Tsar's family and depose the aristocracy. Workers' revolution. Yeah. Probably shouldn't think too much if that's what it leads to. If I'm honest, I feel like the Bolshevik Revolution wasn't great.
Yeah, I think it's a constant danger. If you think too much, you might start a massive communist revolution. Happens all the time, doesn't it?
I mean, it's hard to know what the alternate history where it didn't happen would have been, and it maybe something else awful would have happened. But the repercussions of 1917 kind of echoed through to the current day, haven't they? Like we're still living with the fallout of that revolution.
Nah, no one talks about Russia anymore.
It's true. It's a bit of a meh,
Yeah. I can't remember the last time Russia was in the news.
It's amazing how nobody cares about Russia and they don't do or say anything that anyone's interested in anymore, isn't it? They just keep to themselves, making cheese, farming kelp.
That's right. Yes.
Whittling
famous Russian cheese.
Yeah, whittling figures out of antlers, that sort of thing. That's what happens in Russia, isn't it?
Yeah, I expect so.
It's a bit of a shame ants don't have antlers, isn't it? Because maybe antlers were made of ants. Maybe why are ants in antlers? Why are you antling if you've got big bones sticking out of your face?
Well, no. Stags use their antlers to dig up ant nests to gorge on the ants. And that's called antling.
Because you antle with them.
Antlers.
Like angling, but for ants.
Exactly, yes.
Exactly, yeah. which is why fish are called angles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is strange, isn't it? Because they're not angular at all.
Fish.
Yeah. I've never seen an angular fish.
What about the famous rhombus fish?
Right, yeah. Icosahedrout.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, there you go. So we're talking about birds today, right?
Oh, we are.
Another thing
birds.
which is famously non-angular.
Except
which is
the
luckily because
icosahedron bird.
No, you're thinking of the icosahemu.
Oh, right. You're right, actually. Yeah.
Large flightless icosahedron.
Dodecahedron.
Oh, dodecahedron. That's very good, isn't it? Of course, there are other flying animals, aren't there? Like that big housefly, the Q bottle.
Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you.
There's more flightless birds here. There's it's one in Yorkshire. There's a large flightless bird in Yorkshire called Toenail.
Jesus Christ, Dave. Jesus Christ. What's happening now?
that took quite a lot of setup that wasn't necessary.
I could hear the cogs churning. I mean, it was good. You know, power to you. That was a good one. Yeah, very good. You know, there's probably loads of people listening who have no idea what a Yorkshire accent is or why that makes sense. But
those people.
To Yorkshiremen.
To those people.
So for anybody who isn't British and doesn't know about Yorkshire accents,
I think most people know what a Yorkshire accent's like. Game of Thrones.
It's just
like
it's like
imagine
Sean Bean in Game
Bean,
of Thrones.
right? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So you just preface every word with "t" and "t Yorkshire, t man in t pub in t Yorkshire, wearing t hat with t whippet and t fine."
And instead of saying mum and dad or anything, you go mother and father.
Hey mother, oh mother,
hey, mother.
Oh mother.
And if you have kids, you have to refer to your spouse as mother or father.
Yeah. And there's only a couple of places you can work, aren't there? You have to work either down pit, which is mining in the pit, or down mill. You can work in mill.
Yeah, in mill or down pit.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
And
that's Yorkshire.
Well, you've got those. You can also do ballet. If you don't want to go down to pit,
you can do ballet in pit, right?
In pit.
You can do ballet in pit. Aye.
No, father. I don't want to do ballet. I want to work in pit.
You could do ballet in pit. I don't know what happened to my accent there. And there's only legally one dog allowed in Yorkshire, one type of dog.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which is the whippet. All other dogs are outlawed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bird.
A whippet.
Yeah, it's a dog.
Whippoorwill.
There's no dog bird,
What's a whippoorwill? That's a bird, isn't it?
Is it? I've got no idea.
It's from a song, isn't it? Is it from Paint Your Wagon? There's a lyric that goes, there's a coach coming in, if you listen you can hear it, a clip clopping over the hill, and the sound that you hear is as sweet to your ear as the call of a wild whippoorwill.
Oh, okay.
I always assumed a whippoorwill was a bird. I don't know if it was.
It's some kind of horrific chthonic beast from the,
Chthonic?
Yeah, it's like, from the depths. Like chthonic. Tentacles bursting up from the darkness. Yeah.
Right. You don't hear the word chthonic very much, is all.
No, you don't, do you? No.
Chthon.
There are other birds featured in songs, right? Like the kookaburra, for example, which famously laughs.
Is that the one that sits in the old gum tree?
It is. It sits in the old gum tree. In in Australia, they have so much chewing gum that people kind of fashion them into trees.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and the kookaburras stick to them.
Well, there's nothing to do in Australia, is there? Your options in Australia would be murdered by the wildlife, enjoy the fantastic weather, or build a huge, elaborate fake tree out of chewing gum.
Yeah, which then kookaburras stick in. They fly into it and roost, and they stick there. And everybody interprets their resulting cries of horror as laughter. but it's really not. It's just a screaming. Like
It sounds like this. Ha 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 ha! Help me! Ha 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 ha!
Ha ha ha! I'm stuck to this
Ha ha
gum
ha!
tree.
Ha 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 ha! I'm dying! Ha ha ha!
Yeah, it sounds like that.
Yeah.
Laugh, kookaburra, laugh as you die of thirst, stuck to a tree.
What's the note? Is it how gay your life must be? Yeah, I think it is, isn't it?
You are stuck to a tree.
You're stuck to a tree.
Yeah.
Stuff, kookaburra, stuff, kookaburra. You're stuck to a tree.
Yeah. Are there any other birds?
Cruel.
Or is it? Yeah, it's just whippoorwills and kookaburras.
Whippoorwill, which may or may not be a bird. Kookaburra, which is a very sad bird that's stuck to a tree.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah. Oh wait, no. There's one more, which is the cassowary, right?
Oh, the cassowary. That's a great bird.
If we're sticking in
Cassowaries
Australia.
so dinosaurs kind of morphed into birds, and then some birds decided to. Well, they just are birds. But there are some
the theropod dinosaurs. We now call birds, right?
So what happened was a diplodocus laid an egg, and when it hatched, a bird came out instead.
That's almost exactly true. Yes.
Yeah. But some of the birds have decided that this was a mistake, and they're moving back towards dinosaur territory, aren't they? And the cassowary is leading that charge.
Cassowary is the most dinosaur-like of all the birds, isn't it? That's for sure. If you imagine a velociraptor.
Yeah, I'm imagining it now.
That's cassowary.
Yeah,
not even a velociraptor. Because velociraptors were much smaller than they're often depicted. But there's other raptors like the Utahraptor and how's it pronounced? Deinonychus? Which
Deinonychus, I thought it was,
Deinonychus?
But I don't know. I'm not sure that I'm right. I've always called it Deinonychus.
I don't think there's more than one N. There might be.
Okay, don't listen to me. What do I know?
But they're like velociraptors, but actually the size of the ones from the movies. Yeah, and that's basically what a cassowary is. It's just that. It's literally just that. It's
yeah, except much bigger, right? Like they're like the size of a house, aren't they? Cassowaries.
They're the size of a conspicuously small house. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
They're exactly the same size as a house. That's the same size as a cassowary.
Yeah, it's true. That's a really good way of making it easy to visualize the size.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people often use these laser units like a elephant or a bus.
Or a football field, or
Yeah. But like it's so much easier to envision when it's a house. It's the size of a house that's the size of a cassowary.
Yes. But cassowaries are basically they're like these enormous flightless birds that live in Australia and similar regions around there. I think they're in like maybe Papua New Guinea as well. I forget. But they're basically 2-meter tall flightless birds with enormous razor-sharp hooked claws on their feet, and they are angry and territorial and violent.
And they're colourful and beautiful as well.
They are. Well, I would say beautiful. They're colourful. They're striking. They're not exactly the prettiest of creatures.
I think they're fantastic looking things. They look quite dinosaur-y, don't they?
They look very dinosaur-y, yes.
Yeah. You should be cassowary if you see one, that's for sure.
You should, yeah.
But they can disembowel you, can't they? If they kick you, they can
with a single stare,
out.
Just by looking at you.
I think they have to use their feet to disembowel you. I don't think they can do it with their eyes.
Yeah. They're not the ones with laser eyes, are they?
No, that's different.
Yeah. But yes, no, they're actually like really dangerous. They can properly do you in.
We should get some cassowaries. I think. Okay, so thought 1, we should get some cassowaries and grow them in a field. And thought 2, I wonder if we should ride them into battle. Right, they'd make great battle steeds, wouldn't they? Like significantly more fighty than a puny horse or whatever.
Horses are rubbish at fighting. It's true.
Yeah, they can't disembowel you by slicing you up with their toe claws.
Unless
they've just got these pathetic hooves.
Well, that's why they sometimes breed horses with the enormous tusks spraying out of their faces. Yeah. You know those ones?
Are they the ones with the dangly noses?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, those horses are really quite impressive, aren't they?
The big grey ones, yeah.
Yeah. Big horse, big tusk horse.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, huge flappy ears for some reason.
Yeah,
Just a side
is
effect.
it Shire horse? Is that what they're called?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Shetland horse, I think they're called.
Shetland horse, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're great anyway. So we're agreed. Is it straight to battle, or should we have races first, where you have to get on the cassowary and like the races would be a good way to train the cavalry?
Well, it should be like a rite of passage for every soldier. They have to catch and ride a wild cassowary, right?
Oh, that's quite good. Yeah. Do you have to? You know how the Spartans, to be a man, you had to. They'd release a slave into the wilderness. And you had to track him down and kill him.
Spartans, but specifically, I was thinking of the movie 300,
right?
Which has a thing where
the documentary 300, where they put
the
spy cameras around Sparta. Yeah.
Where I think in that film you're released into the wild and have to fight a wolf or something. I forget. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it. But yeah, is that how it works in Sparta? Where you release a slave and have to hunt the slave?
Yeah, so you'd be taken from your family as a young boy, and you would live in a barracks with the other young boys, and you would be trained as a soldier. That would be your whole thing. And you had to do a couple of rites of passage. Like there would be a master with a stick guarding a thing you had to steal. Right. Everyone would try and creep past him to steal this thing, and he'd whack anyone who he could catch with the stick.
That sounds like a brilliant job. The stick guy.
Yeah. And then as you kind of got through to manhood, they would release a slave into, that was as a small child, the stick thing. But then as you to pass into manhood, they release a slave, and you have to track him and kill him, and come back having tracked and killed the slave, and then you're golden after that. You're a bloke.
That's a far less good job. I'd rather be the stick guy
than the slave.
Yeah,
fair goes. And it worked quite well as a society, because by having an incredibly hardcore murderous population, they could then go and just kind of grab and enslave people from roundabout to actually work the fields.
I think
so they didn't really have to.
The movie 300 has given people an unfairly positive opinion of what Sparta was like, right?
Right. Well, not like an unbelievably cruel and psychopathic place.
Yes. Yeah.
The thing about exposing babies on the mountain, right? On the hillside.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's fun times.
Yeah, well, you would place the baby in a bowl of wine, and if the baby kind of spasmed because it couldn't handle being immersed in wine immediately after it was born, you're like, no, this baby's weak. Leave it out on the hillside.
This baby absolutely cannot take his wine.
Yeah, exactly. It cannot take its booze off to the hillside with this baby.
This one's going to be no fun at all.
Yeah. I'm not going to enjoy hitting this one with a stick. Good old Spartans.
Yeah. I love how every ancient civilization is just monstrous by our current standards of morality and ethics. They're all terrifyingly monstrous. I wouldn't like to be born.
Yeah, it's not just ancient civilizations. It's everything until very recently, really, isn't it?
That's why time travel doesn't appeal to me, really.
Well, time travel forward appeals.
But no, you say that, right? But the same rules apply. It's arrogance to think that
you'd be a barbarian.
We've found the exact perfect level of civilization that we're going to stay at forever. You travel forward a couple of 100 years, and whatever civilizational society you find yourself in is going to be just as alien as Sparta or the Aztec Empire.
That's the whole point of going forward in time, isn't it? It's just that hopefully it'll be alien in a nice way instead of a horrific way.
I think that's optimistic, isn't it?
I mean, you don't know till you get there, do you? You're going to have to take that gamble.
I mean, imagine if a Spartan was teleported in time to now, to our modern, like, let's say England.
I tell you what, you wouldn't want to let him loose as either a teacher or a maternity nurse.
I don't think he would approve. I don't think he'd think that we'd improved as a culture, as a society.
No, he'd think we were awful, wouldn't he?
A bunch of weaklings.
Yeah, he probably would, yeah.
don't even murder
Maybe
their
he'd
children.
become our king and lead us to glory.
Right.
That's probably what we're missing,
my point
isn't
being that I don't think there's much chance that we'd be catapulted 1,000 or 2,000 years in the future and go, oh, this is much better. I think we'd go, oh, God, these guys are all insane.
Well, the lesson I'm learning from this, Dave, is that when I go forward a few thousand years, I'll be surrounded by a society of weaklings, and I'll be able to bend them to my will easily and impose my horrific reign even more easily than I can here, right?
You think it's a linear slide from ancient Sparta to modern England? In weaklingness, right? Shown
I
straight
think
down.
so, yeah.
So in another couple of thousand years, that society will be as pathetic to us as we must be to the Spartans.
Yeah, I think that's probably right, yeah.
So what does that society look like? Are we just all like pale worm-like creatures writhing about in the mud and crying?
I mean, I don't know. So the thing that I think we really have to grapple with here is whether we need to delay our revolution. And I would say not really, just because it'd be easier to freeze ourselves and do it in 100 years or 1,000 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we should, like it's probably better if we just get on with it.
Where would be the fun in that?
No, exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
plus someone might switch off the freezer, right? And then you just thaw out and go all floppy.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then they might stick you back in the freezer, but you're never quite the same after that.
No,
the texture's all wrong.
Yeah. You don't want your texture being all wrong, especially not if you're going to lead a revolution. Yeah.
Yeah, and you might be quite, botulism.
Can you call it a revolution if no one else is revolting? If you're just imposing your will, it's more of a coup, isn't it? Really.
I suppose, yeah. Is it a coup?
We can call it a glorious revolution after the event.
What's it called if there's not a regime that's being overthrown? Is that just an invasion?
I guess so, yeah. You're talking about our future version rather than when we overthrow the regimes here.
Yeah. If we travelled via the process of time travelling at a rate of 1 second per second for 2,000 years.
By freezing ourselves.
By freezing ourselves into the distant future of weak, feeble utopia humans.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they presumably in their weak, feeble utopia, they don't have any need for a centralized government because everything's perfect. You don't need laws because there's no crime. No,
exactly. This is what makes it so ripe for the picking.
You don't need socialized healthcare because everyone's perfectly healthy all the time.
They'll all be full of nanobots or something like that.
Yeah. So at that point, when our freezing machines go ping, and the top bits hinge up with a big like a big dry ice.
That'll probably happen to your freezing machine. But I'm just going to get into my freezer, so it'll be more of a kind of
oh right, okay.
Sound as
I was thinking of the cryopods from Alien.
No, I haven't got one of those.
Right.
But I have got a freezer. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll just climb in.
I've got a freezer, but it's not very good. It's leaking a bit.
You probably don't want it leaking if you're going to be in there for 1,000 years.
Like, not dramatically, but we do occasionally have to put down a tea towel on the floor because a strange, mysterious liquid keeps appearing on the floor next to it.
Does the substance have any smell?
Well, it's kind of a deep, dark red and quite coppery smell.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what it could be.
Yeah, no, it's a mystery.
Speaking of which, I haven't told you the my hilarious misadventure this weekend.
Okay,
since we last spoke.
What's this?
So in my home office where I'm sitting right now, I put out a rug about a week or so ago to protect the carpet. But it's been annoying me ever since because the carpet has like a grain on it in one particular direction. So the rug kind of scoots an inch a day towards a wall and then rucks up and then gets all rucked up. And I keep removing it and putting it back. But also the rug's quite a stiff rug. So every time the edges of the rug kind of like hinge up a bit and present a tripping hazard. And I've spent
this sounds like a living hell.
About a week stepping over the edge of the rug going, it's a death trap. Someone's going to come a cropper. I need to sort this out. Someone's going to come a cropper. And then what happened on last Friday night is I went to see a friend at the pub and had a couple of ales. and
Right.
came home slightly less careful
Ninja-like.
about my
Yeah.
feet as I was, and
Yeah.
tripped over the rug. And it was quite luckily, I could have gone all the way to the floor, but luckily I managed to stop my fall by smacking my face into the wall really hard.
Oh, that's good.
I used my
Yeah, well
nose
done.
mainly for
Yeah.
to break my fall.
Oh, good on you.
So whack went my face quite
Yeah.
hard, and then my
Yeah.
nose just started absolutely gushing blood. Like
Nice
a
one.
run of blood, like
Right.
loads of it.
Right.
Incredible amounts. But I've never had a nosebleed like it, where I was just like
Right.
grabbing tissues and kitchen
Oh,
towels to
God.
try and mop it
Yeah.
up, but it just kept pouring out like
Oh,
about a pint.
God.
It felt like about a pint of it, and
Oh, my God.
yeah. So I spent the weekend in incredible pain. I also like wrenched my neck really badly.
Oh, no. Oh, God, Dave.
Yeah, my nose is quite sore.
Wow.
But the ironic thing was, luckily, with all the blood gushing out of my nose, luckily there was a rug there. Otherwise, it would have ruined the carpet. So that was good. Yeah.
So is the rug covered in blood now and in the bin, or
I spent
what's happening to it?
literally half cut at 11:30 at night. I spent literally 45 minutes scrubbing blood out of the rug, trying not to wake my partner.
Ha!
Which is the kind of wonderful end to a Friday night that you really want to have in your mid-40s. Yeah.
Brilliant. Good for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, good for you. Well, that sounds great. You didn't save any of the tasty blood then
It wasn't
to
very
give your
tasty.
family a breakfast treat.
It was horrid nose blood.
You're not feeding your daughter on horrid nose blood?
No, she's mostly mostly she feasts on crows
Right.
to bring it back to birds.
Birds. Yeah. Well, how does she consume her crows?
Well, we send her out every morning
Yeah.
with a crude sling and a little spear. She has to whittle herself a spear
And
every morning.
you fire her out of the sling at the crows, right?
Yeah, there's some crows
in midair while they're on a branch.
There's some crows roosting nearby, and they kind of go onto the neighbour's roof in the morning, and we watch them when they're having breakfast. And if you fling her really hard, she's still small enough that you can fling her in the sling.
Yeah. Does she just kind of hit them mouth open and engulf them?
Mouth open, or she's got a little spear that she whittles out of
right,
kind of bamboo every morning. So she can get them in one of those, and that counts too. Yeah.
Okay, I suppose if they see her coming and start to fly off, she can spear them and
yeah,
because she's got limited mobility, I suppose, while she's in flight.
Yes, yeah, no wings.
You're quite restricted in your directional.
Yeah,
control.
Once she smashes into the tiles of the neighbour's roof, she can sink her talons in and
through
start
the tiles,
scrabbling around.
Well, that all sounds great, Dave. Sounds very positive. Yeah. What's
your favourite bird?
I haven't asked you your favourite bird, have I? Oh, that's my favourite bird. I mean, I do like the cassowary, but I should say something else, shouldn't I? Really, I think, I don't know. I'm tempted to say something like
you can say cassowary if it's your favourite bird. You don't have to lie.
Well, I have to admit, I haven't really sat down and thought what is my favourite bird. Shall I just detail some of my favourite birds, and maybe we'll be able to distill a favourite out of them. Mm-hmm. Right. So, as I probably mentioned before, I'm a big fan of your duck. I do like ducks.
You do like my duck, don't you? You covet my duck.
And I went to a friend's house, and they've got some bloke ducks that they were given from a duck rescue place, and they're really nice. There's a runner duck. Runner ducks are always hilarious. Mm-hmm. And a couple of Peking ducks that are very pretty, and a couple of mallards. But the one that was a real eye opener for me, and is definitely up there in my top 10 birds, is this duck I couldn't tell you the name of, but it's kind of, the sexy bit of a male mallard, the kind of green sheen.
The sexy bit.
The bit that makes it look super cool with the kind of, the kind of iridescent green bit.
Yeah.
Imagine a duck that was black, but the whole duck was that iridescent green sheen on a kind of black base.
Ooh.
It looked amazing. I was like, wow, that is an amazing duck. Uh-huh. He's brilliant. So he's a great bird, that duck, the kind of green iridescent sheen duck. Big fan of him. Yeah. I like chickens, as you know.
Speaking of ducks, my friend
Yeah.
who I was talking to in the pub the other day is getting some ducks, and I was talking to her about your duck experience,
Yeah.
but she wouldn't be dissuaded. I tried to explain that they are chaotic; they're forces of chaos, but that just made them more eager.
Yeah, I mean, they're brilliant. They're fantastic. As long as you can handle the madness, then.
So she's constructing a duck house in her garden, which she is naming
a duck house.
Yeah, well, a duck
Brilliant.
pen.
Right.
Which she is naming the quack den.
Nice.
It's very good, I thought.
Yeah, ours were kind of a creamy white, so we call them the Queen Quackers.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah.
Nice. Quack Den is also good, if slightly more adult. Yeah, brilliant. Well, good for her. Are they female, male?
I don't think she's actually acquired them yet. I think it's a ongoing
you get
process.
Female ones, obviously they'll lay eggs, which is nice.
The male ones rarely lay eggs. Yeah,
rarely. Yeah, but do you know what? I'm a huge fan. Like, actually, I think they are I don't know. Like, I'm a huge fan of humble garden songbirds, and I particularly have a soft spot for the blue tit. I love blue tits. They're such lovely birds.
It's a very pretty bird, blue tit. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I love them, and I've been making and putting up loads of birdhouses over the winter. At least one of them is currently inhabited by a family of blue tits. And it gives me great pleasure. I also like the tiny little wrens. They're great. But there's something particularly lovely about a blue tit, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say blue tit. I think they're my favourite birds, blue tits.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a brilliant bird, you blue tit.
I like some of the common birds. I think some of them are lovely. Underappreciated ones. Like there's a bush that I walk past.
That's not a bird. That's a plant, Dave.
You see, what you've done there is you've assumed I'd finished the sentence, but actually there were quite a few more words to go in that sentence.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
wow!
Yeah,
what a mistake to make.
Yeah. So there's a bush which has wings and is a bird. That's how I was going to end that sentence.
Great.
It's called the bush bird. Lives in Australia.
Okay.
Anyway,
any other birds?
So there's a bush that I walk past most mornings on the sort of childcare run, and it's absolutely full of sparrows. There's a cloud of sparrows when you go near it. They all nest in there. Like I don't really understand how sparrows nest, but I assume it's in vast colonies inside a bush. It seems
right.
And they're lovely. They're lovely, happy little birds. I think they're lovely. They're often dismissed as being boring little brown birds, right? I think they're quite.
Are you aware of Mao's war on sparrows?
Whose war?
Mao, Chairman Mao.
Chairman Mao's war on sparrows? No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horrible story. It's a tragic and horrible story. Like Mao obviously did many things.
On the scale of tragic, horrible stories involving Mao, where does this rank?
I mean, it's quite a bad one, actually. Surprisingly bad.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
So there were many, many tragic and horrible things that happened under Mao's watch. I mean, nothing like what we're going to impose on and inflict on the world, obviously.
Of course.
But still pretty bad. But they wanted to improve agriculture. Like one of the huge driving forces was improving agriculture. It was trying to drag the country into the 20th century, right?
Yeah.
But improving agricultural output. And it's that classic thing that, ripping everyone up and shoving them in collective farms so nobody owns anything anymore isn't always great. But they decided that sparrows were eating loads of their grain, right? They were losing too much grain to sparrows. I can't remember what the ratio was, but they decided, like a certain number of sparrows ate enough grain to feed one person. Horrible food shortages. So they declared war on sparrows and got people all over China, which is quite a big place.
Famously quite large.
Yeah, to go out and rattle pans and bang metal things to keep the sparrows flying until they died of exhaustion. and they killed off countless millions of sparrows this way. And it was kind of declared as a great victory, and people were proudly showing off all their sparrows.
Can I interject with a prediction of what happened next?
Go on.
Is it that whatever insects the sparrows preyed upon became a huge plague and caused loads of deaths? Is it that?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely mangled the harvest because of the proliferation of pests.
Right.
And resulted in worsening famine. Yeah.
I mean, that seems like the kind of thing.
No one will ever know how many died in mouse famines, but the Great Leap Forward killed a great many people. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. That seems like the kind of mistake that humans keep making, right?
Yeah.
Let's massively just screw up the ecosystem for some kind of poorly thought out short-term goal and hope fingers crossed there's no long-term repercussions to this.
Yeah.
And it seems
the revenge of the sparrows will be long and terrible, right? So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is why it pays to be nice to the sparrows. Just look at what they did to revolutionary China.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about, didn't we before talk about how corvids and are capable of holding grudges and long-term vengeance?
Yes, we did.
That they pass down through generations. That's great, isn't it?
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, corvid, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're my favourite birds by a long shot, but they're impressive birds, if not birds that I'm particularly fond of.
They're absolutely my favourites, corvids. Absolutely.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're great.
You can live with the evil as long as they're impressive.
One of my life goals is to make friends with a crow.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think you'll learn from him?
Not have a pet crow. I just want a crow that I'm friends with, and we'll fly down and we'll be comfortable in each other's company. Like when I'm having my breakfast, I'll maybe hop down onto the window ledge and I can give him a little nut or something.
If you do that,
then I'll go off and do crow stuff. I don't want a pet. I don't want to domesticate him or anything. I just want.
I'm pretty sure there's at least one person who's befriended a crow, which brings him or her, I think, gifts.
Yes, I read this. Yeah,
he's stolen things. Goes and steals things and brings them to her.
Like picks up small change and brings them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There was a thing I read a while ago, teaching crows to pick up litter.
Right.
So this is some guy's idea that you would like high value food for a crow is something like it's like peanuts or something, right? It's something that's quite cheap for humans. But they quite enjoy. So teaching them that if they collect like cigarette butts and empty cans and bring them into a big bin, they'll get peanuts out of it. And this was a thing, this was some kind of experiment a guy did with a bunch of crows, and it seemed really promising. But it was kind of debunked a bit in that these weren't wild crows he was training. These are domesticated crows that were already dependent on him for food. So already very well set up. And also the point being it's actually massively inefficient for the crow. The effort required to search for rubbish and bring it back
less efficient than just finding some food.
Yeah. It's not good for the crow. It's not a good situation for the crow. The crow could just be like hunting for food like it normally does, scavenging.
Yeah. Okay. Pecking out lamb's eyes, that kind of thing.
Mostly what they do, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have lots of kites, red kites around.
Yeah, they're brilliant, aren't they?
I love them. I love them so much. And this is such an incredible thing. Like 10 years ago, they were nowhere. Like the hawks, British hawks, English, at least English. My experience is the south and west of England. We, like 10, 15 years ago, we had very few hawks. They'd mostly died out.
Well, people used to poison and shoot them, right?
Well, they're still a weird prejudice. But nowadays, buzzards and red kites are really common. You see kites all the time. And it's great. They're such amazing birds. But there's still like a weird prejudice that lingers. Like people still think they're menaces for some mad reason. And I think I was talking to someone who was telling me how they're a danger. They'll carry off your cat, or they decimate the local wildlife. They're awful pests, and it's not true. They're almost entirely carrion eaters. They don't do much hunting.
They spend most of their time studying the teachings of Plato, Socrates.
It's right. Yeah.
Sometimes some Kant.
But they're amazing birds. And I'm just so pleased to see them. When I grew up, there weren't many.
There's a couple of red kites that live quite close to me, and I see them, regularly kind of in the distance. They're always like a field away. But last summer I was in the garden and a terrible ruckus overhead, and I looked up and I just caught, it was either a red kite or a buzzard. I presume it was a kite because there's a pair of kites nearby. Flew just over my head, like a couple of feet above my head.
Wow.
Like whooshed over me, pursued by, a group of shouting crows. Yeah.
Yeah, crows
chasing it off.
Crows absolutely hate them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just looked up just in time to see it kind of whoosh over me.
But the thing is, like, crows hate them because they're competing, because they're both like a nice bit of carrion. Right. That's the reason.
Crows hate.
Crows like to eat anything they see that looks a bit foamy and dead. They're quite jealous about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think it's funny with birds, like which birds hate each other and which birds tolerate each other.
Right.
Like, so my mum's garden, she's got a couple of bird feeders.
Yeah.
And her garden's full of birds. It's beautiful. And it's weird which ones get on and which ones don't.
Right.
Like, a lot of it's to do with how they eat, right? So you've got the blue tits and things will come and sit on the little perch and peck at the seeds. And but the pigeons just kind of flop onto the ground and eat whatever falls on the ground and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then you get like a certain type of bird will turn up, like a magpie or something, and the others will go, oh, nope, out of here. Okay, right. Yep. Not for us anymore. And it's weird. You've got this kind of very complicated bird social network, right? Where some of them are kind of cool with each other. Some get on, some really don't. But it's kind of like cliques in a school or something, right?
Yeah. So what, does she not have problems with squirrels? I stopped putting bird feeders out because all I was doing was feeding the squirrels.
No, the rats get all the squirrels. It's fine.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, not too bad a squirrel problem. There's a few around, but it's mostly
right.
Okay.
There's lots of oak trees around mine. There's several in my garden, and I wonder, and loads of beech trees as well. I wonder whether that's why I've constantly got loads of squirrels everywhere, because the beech nuts and the acorns are like great squirrel feed.
Right, yeah. Oh, speaking of my mum's garden as well, she's got a fish pond which hasn't had any fish in it for years.
Right.
It did have lots of fish, and then briefly.
But they just left one day. They thought they'd go somewhere nicer.
For a long time, it had lots of fish, and then for a very short time, it had a heron. Then it had no fish.
Another bird.
Yeah, so heron basically just landed and ate all the fish.
Right.
And just
do that, don't they?
Sat in the pond, this giant heron just going, yep, thanks for the snack. I'm off.
Yeah.
Let me know when you've refilled. Yeah. Which is kind of cool. Like, I like herons more than I like fish, to be honest.
To eat?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your favourite heron recipe?
Heron on toast.
They got a lot of neck, haven't they? Got a lot of neck going on.
It's the best bit, the neck. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like a raw duck neck is probably the very best treat you can give Barney.
Is it really?
I always feel like when
you buy a bird and it comes plucked, and they've chopped the feet and head off and stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. Always feels like when they've shoved its neck up itself, feels like that's an unnecessary insult. Like you've killed it, right? You've won. There's no need for that. There's no need to do that.
I mean, I really miss the days when you used to get your giblets with all your chickens, because you usually don't get giblets anymore. But especially with the duck, they're particularly nice. I love the giblets.
You just want the giblets. You used to you used to scoop out the giblets and throw the rest of it away. Just have some lovely giblets.
I just wear them as gloves. I put one on each hand.
Yeah.
Keep me nice and warm. Yeah. But the giblets are delicious. So I think it's that time. Or is there something else you want to... Yeah.
I know, I was just going to list some more birds, but no, I think it is that time, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you can list some birds if you want.
I like all the corvids. I don't like the covids. I like the corvids.
No.
Especially crows. Ravens are amazing. So there's So I saw a raven the other day, a while ago, And ravens are amazing. They're huge. They are huge. There's a way. Someone told me this. A way to tell if you're looking at something, you're not sure if it's a crow or a raven. If you're not sure, then it's a crow.
Yeah.
Right. Because ravens are massive. They're really huge. You can't mistake a raven when you see a raven. It's
interestingly, I find the same way.
It doesn't look like a big crow up close. It looks like, oh my god, that's a raven. Look at that.
I have the same thing with the Spitfires that fly over. Like if a plane, if you can hear a plane coming, and you think, oh, is that the Spitfire? Then it's not the Spitfire, because you can always tell a Spitfire. Like it's really obvious when it's a Spitfire.
Spitfire Hurricane is the one that looks a lot like a Spitfire, right?
Yeah, but just from the engine sound, that the Merlin engine has a very specific sound that you just can't really mistake for anything else. Yeah, and like visually, obviously, yeah, you can tell it by the wing shape, but yeah, you can tell it just by the sound of it approaching.
Could you describe that sound? Could you do it for me?
Oh, I can try. Yeah, the sound of the classic Merlin from the Spitfire is kind of
a like that. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Loads of people from all around will be running into their gardens to look at the Spitfire now.
Yeah. You almost kind of did a sort of Doppler effect halfway through that as well. It's quite good. That really added to the authenticity.
Yeah,
love it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, great. So yes, all corvids are good. I love magpies too. Magpies are great. I like cormorants. They look a bit like dinosaurs too.
I've noticed that you only like birds that begin with a C-O-R.
I like birds that begin with C-O-R and are also predominantly black. That's the rules. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And eat flesh.
Yes. The corpse eater, another great bird.
Yes. Corpse bird. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The called blimey governor bird.
Yeah. The corporate bird.
Yeah. The Corleone bird.
The corporate bird is black because it wears a suit, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Corleone bird is a gangster bird. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the bird that leaves horses' heads in your bed.
Yeah. There's two that live together, aren't there? The Cordon Bleu bird and the Cordon Ramsay bird.
Oh goodness!
They quite often seen together. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the
Cornetto bird.
That comes in several different colours, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It's a resident of cold climates.
Yes. Yeah.
The frozen wastes.
There's the corgi, which looks a lot like a dog, but it's actually a bird.
Yeah, cordyceps, which
looks a lot like a mushroom, but is actually a bird.
It infects the brains of other birds and makes them behave strangely before bursting out of them. You don't want a pet cordyceps bird. They're no good.
There's the Corfu, which looks a lot like an enormous Mediterranean island, but it's actually a bird.
The cork bird, which floats very buoyant.
Yeah.
Unlike all other birds just sink like a brick.
Well, they do.
Cork bird is cork bird is the only bird.
That's why cormorants,
floats.
right? When you see a cormorant diving to eat something,
it's just trying to land on the water, really.
Well, the thing is, right? Well, they cormorants fish by floating about, and then when they spot a fish, they'll go bloop underwater. But it's amazing. What I love about cormorants is there's two things I love about cormorants. One is that when they go bloop underwater, they're down there for surprisingly long, like a minute at a time.
Right.
Doing underwater stuff. And you have to really keep an eye and keep watching the water, and then like 30 seconds to a minute later, they'll bloop up somewhere else, like 50 meters away, with a giant eel or something in their mouth, and then swallow it whole.
That's how I like to bloop up. If I'm going to bloop up, I want to do it with a big eel.
Watching a cormorant eat is amazing because they'll disappear underwater for tens of seconds and then come back up with a huge fish, like bigger than their head in their mouth. Yeah. And the way they eat it is they just kind of like tip their heads back. They've got quite long necks. Tip their heads back and just kind of like a and just swallow the whole thing. Yeah, like absolutely
great way to eat.
They've got long, thin necks, and they just kind of force it. I have to force it a long way down those steps. And it's really, really difficult every time they eat. I love it. Yeah. And the other thing I love about cormorants is that they do a thing. They need to sun themselves. It's something to do with the oils that keep them waterproof. And what they like to do is to hop up onto the shore, onto a tall thing near to the shore, so they're out of the water. And they just sit there, looking majestic with their wings spread wide, catching the sun. Like
good.
Like they're Batman showing off on top of a building in Gotham City. You know, the kind of the big shot where the camera spins around and Batman's just standing on top of a building for no reason. That thing. Cormorants do that all the time, and they always look brilliant. Just kind of
Batman is drying off in the sun to get his waterproof oils sorted, right?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah.
So I suspect we might, from listening to that, I suspect we might have got the way Diplodocuses worked wrong.
Right.
It sounds to me like they might have picked up a dinosaur, shoved its head back on,
right,
and forced another dinosaur, like a Stegosaurus or whatever, forced it down its long neck.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's how Diplodocuses works.
There is a widespread suspicion that they might have been herbivores.
Yeah, but that's clearly wrong, or else cormorants wouldn't work like that, right?
You're right.
You don't see a cormorant nibbling on leaves, do you?
There's also a pervasive misconception that cormorants are not descended from the sauropod dinosaurs at all, but rather theropod ones. And in fact,
that's nonsense.
There's no bird that's descended from a Diplodocus.
I mean, I just think all of that is nonsense. It is,
isn't it? It's insane.
We have, as a population, as a civilization, I think we've had enough of experts, so-called experts, and it's time to go with what my gut tells me is true, which is that cormorants are just modern day Diplodocuses, and that
you're right.
Diplodocuses ate Stegosauruses like that.
I agree. I also think the best way to live your life is just to believe whatever you want to be true.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the route to happiness, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's the route to happiness and a sane, functional civilization.
Yeah.
So enough of these so-called experts.
There's a third reason why I love cormorants, actually. I've just thought of.
Right, okay.
Which is that anglers hate them.
Okay.
Because they eat all the fish and scare the fish off. And anything that annoys anglers is absolutely great, as far as I'm concerned.
Dude, you're alienating our angling demographic.
Yeah.
So for all of those people out there who love to spend a Sunday afternoon with their protractors, wandering the riverbanks, checking the angles of things, don't worry, Dave might hate you, but I am on your side.
When I was 11 years old, an angler threatened to kill my dog because she jumped in the water and scared the fish off. And I've hated...
Oh, my God.
I've hated fishermen ever since. Yeah.
I mean, that feels... I mean, obviously, that's awful. But thing two, are you sure your kind of general hatred for a group, all people of a group, might not be in some way a bad thing?
No, I think in the same way that a healthy society is founded on believing things you want to be true, I think a healthy society is based on generalizing to an entire group of people based on one experience, one very, very specific personal experience, is absolutely just it's efficient, isn't it? It's efficient.
It is efficient,
I can't
especially
talk
when
to
it's
every angler in the world, right? And decide whether or not I hate them all. I don't have the time. Okay. Civilization would grind to a halt if we all did that.
Okay, I'm persuaded. Yeah. Okay. All right, I get it. You make a good case. So, Dave, birds, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up. I like birds. Birds are good. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So also thumbs up. I think birds should be mandatory.
Yeah, everyone should have birds.
So how does this manifest? After the revolution, anybody who hasn't got birds with them at any particular time?
I don't think you should, imprison them. Like, having a bird in a cage is obviously bad.
You need to have birds
you
on
must
your
also
person.
Have birds. It must be their choice to be with you, but you have to have them.
The birds must have chosen you.
Yeah.
If the birds haven't chosen you, then you are not worthy. The birds are the arbiters of who and who isn't worthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a little bit of slightly unofficial advice to people in the new regime who are having trouble convincing birds to, hang about them, lots of them, like the crow and like the kite and like the vulture, are carrion eaters. So as long as you walk around with some kind of large dead herbivore draped around your shoulders,
you'll be all right.
You will be attracting birds. So you'll be safe. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. I mean, they could be the people who haven't been chosen by the birds can provide the carrion.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's a
Okay,
problem
great.
that would solve itself quite quickly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this feels like the whole thing is a loop. You know, it works. Good. Great. You don't want to have unfunded ideas, right? And this is an idea which funds itself because the carrion provides itself.
Yeah, we can't really fund many ideas because our new regime doesn't have many like revenue generating aspects to it. It's mostly about us extorting all the wealth and value out of the world.
I'm gonna need a great deal of resources to build my enormous
it's
golden statue of my smiling face, right? It's going to be big.
Yes. Yeah.
And when I've built that one, I'm just going to keep building more, and each one will be slightly bigger than the last one. So, that project is not going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, well, I'm going to build a solid diamond bridge to Alpha Centauri. My plan. Wow,
that is a long way, Dave. You're going to need a lot of solid diamond to do that.
It's almost a light year, Joel.
Arg! It's all right. Some mentions of light year are okay.
Yes.
What is our subject for next week?
I think it's your turn, isn't it? Did I choose birds?
Yeah, you may well have done. Okay.
What would you like to talk about next week?
Have we talked about submarines?
I don't think we have.
Well, I do like submarines.
I know you do. We talked about the one that imploded.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot more submarines than that. So
I have to remember not to talk about that at length.
It's all right. I'm sure we can talk about it again. We'll just have to make sure that anything we say is even more interesting and informative than what we've already covered.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, and we're notoriously good at getting all aspects of a subject properly discussed.
We talked about at least 4 different birds today.
Yeah.
As a case in point.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you next week for submarines.
Okay, dude.
Hooray!
Bye!